Vintage Paperback Names and Logos. Hi, I'm Gary Lovisi, and this time we're going to do a little something different. I'm just going to talk about some of the vintage paperback imprints that were very popular in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. A lot of them had various imprints had animal or bird logos. They had various different designs, and find out where some of the names came from. So there's like Belmont Books, which was published in the late 50s, early 60s, and that was, somebody just drove by. Belmont was actually named after Belmont Racetrack in New York. Midwood Books, which are very popular, a Sleaze imprint that was had covers by Rader and Guire and other great books, and that was named after the Midwood section of Brooklyn. Avon Books, very popular series of pulp-inspired cover art and great authors and stuff. That was Avon came from Stratford upon Avon, which was Shakespeare's home, and they used a Shakespeare head as the logo. Diversity Books was an Avon reprint. It was a digest series, and that was they got the name from Diversity Avenue in Chicago. Dell Books, another popular series with the Dell mapbacks, that was based on the publisher and owner George Delacourt, so they shortened his last name, and that was Dell Books. Bantam Books was started by Ian and Betty Ballantyne after they left UK Penguin Books, and they used the Bantam Rooster as their logo. Pyramid Books, great kind of low-end series of books. They used the pyramid as their logo. Lion Books used the lion as their logo. Ballantyne Books was named after Ian and Betty Ballantyne. Daw Books, D-A-W, was the initials of the owner and founder, Donald A. Wollheim. They started in 1972 and they used his initials. And Wollheim was a famous science fiction author, but mostly better known as a science fiction editor and publisher. British Books, TV Boardman or Boardman Books, was named after Tom Boardman in the UK paperback series. Beacon Books used a beacon, or actually a lighthouse with the beacon showing, and that was their logo. Gold Medal. Gold Medal's a very popular series of paperbacks. A lot of great crime and noir, as well as westerns. They used a gold medal with a red, white, and blue
ribbon.
Ribbon, right? With the medal hanging down from it. Signet Books. A signet is a bird, but they never used the logo of a bird. They just used the name. Pocket Books. We all know that's famous American paperback publisher that started vintage paperbacks in 1938, and Pocket Books, they used kangaroo logo, which was Gertrude the kangaroo. The kangaroo had a name, and she went through many changes, different designs over the years. British publisher Corgi, which was originally started as a British imprint owned by American Bantam Books by Ballantyne, and they used a Corgi dog. Popular Library didn't really use. They used in the early days. They used a kind of a PL logo with a gun logo. Bart House was Bartholomew House in New York. Lancer Books used a chess horse logo. Domino, which is a Sleaze imprint of Lancer Books, used a domino logo from Domino's. Penguin in the UK and in the US used a penguin, of course. I don't know if the penguin had a name. And then they had a non-fiction imprint in the US and UK, Pelican Books, which was, of course, a pelican logo. Albatross was a German series that was used an albatross, flying albatross bird, and they were a precursor to Penguin. When Alan Lane was in Europe, he saw the Albatross books, and he had the idea to publish them, to publish something similar to them in the UK, and thus was born Penguin Books in 1935. Even before Penguin and Albatross, there was Tauchnitz Books in Germany. Tauchnitz were German paperbacks. There were thousands of them, and they were published since, I think, the 1700s. And they were published in English for British and other English speakers who visited Germany and visited the continent, and who couldn't read books in French or Spanish or German, so they were these English books that were made available to them. Monarch Books was published in Derby, Connecticut, where Carlton Comics were published, and All-Star Books, and they were, that was an outfit owned by Charles Heckelman, who was earlier in his career was an editor for Ned Pine at Popular Library. Charles Heckelman was a really great guy. I had him as a guest at my show quite a few years, and Monarch it's a very popular series, a lot of good books published in that run. But they, while it was Monarch, they never used, Monarch butterfly, but they never used a butterfly logo as their logo. Cardinal Books was an imprint of Pocket Books, and they used a red cardinal logo. I think I mentioned Corgi in the UK. They used a Corgi dog. They had a series called Scotty Books for kids, or for younger people, and they used a Scotty dog for that. And Harlequin Books in Canada used the clown logo. And it's just a little bit about some of the various series in vintage paperbacks that I think it's kind of interesting, like some of the logos that they used, some of the how they got their names, and little incidental things like that. I just thought it'd be something that maybe you'd like to you enjoy knowing about. Probably know a lot about it already, but just something that to think about, and that I hope you find interesting. And I just want to thank you for looking, and we'll see you next time.